Hey everyone, it's Michael Taylor again, bringing you race 6 of the Sim Cup season. We are at Talladega for the Walmart 500, and it was a wild race, so I hope you'll stay tuned and see what happened. On the pole, we have Brendan Irons and rookie Daniel Alderson, Carl Flint and points leader Kevin Richmond on row 2, Patrick Cobb Jr. and Tommy Morello, Tim Bowen and Jason Severn, and then row 5, we have Matt Sidici and Carson Fitzpatrick. Row 6, Reed Conway and Zach Dorian. Row 7, Joel Kowiak and Anthony Wick. Matthew Sparrows and Michael Adkins on row 8. Drew Tabulov and Jim Powers on row 9. Last year's Talladega winner, Dylan with Scott Unger. And the last row, Davis McAfee and Ricky Brackett. Walmart 500 at Talladega was 188 laps, and it was a hot day and cloudy, and the winds were 9 degrees to the west. So without further ado, let's get to the action. Okay, the 87 car came down and took the green flag with the field. And going into turn 1, Daniel Alderson took the lead, and he was the first car to lead a lap. As you know, Talladega pack racing is wild, and I tried to take as many screenshots as I could of different leaders. So on lap 5, Kevin Richmond, our points leader, he took the lead. And then lap 12, Michael Adkins had taken the lead. And then lap 19, Tim Bowen had taken the lead. So it was a nice flow of the race, and it was just constantly changing until lap 35, when we had the big one. So, as you can see in this picture, a lot happened, and I actually saw with my own eyes, but don't have a recording. What happened was the 53 car spun out and collected the 19 car, who was just unlucky going into turn 1. Those two cars were hit by the 38 car. The 19 car hit the 21 and 2, and then the 53 car hit the 87 and 71. And then the 10 car hit the 21 car. So that's a total of 8 cars in this accident, and Dylan Fisher, the 19 car, who's already last place in points, he gets the only DNF of the day. Pretty wild. I wish you guys all saw that, because it was like, these big ones are kind of rare. They happen at Talladega enough, but it's still pretty rare to catch it. Every car that had damage that still remained in the race, they were completely out of the chance to win, and they just rolled around for 150 more laps slower than the rest of the field, and it provided for some drama, where the lead pack would have to scramble. But this brought it a caution, obviously, and everyone came down and pitted. So after this, it was a completely new race. So here's the top 13. Sidici was leading. Wick, the 26 car, lost the draft, and he was falling back, just like the cars that had damage. At lap 69, you can see the leaders going around Reed Conway, who was running 21st at the time. Lap 83, the second round of pit stops happened. The 6 car, 13, and the 50 car broke down and went to the pits the first chance they got. So after those cycle pit stops, Zach Dorian came out the leader, and eventually the pack caught up with him. You can see the top 9 cars running together, following close behind the 87 car, who was a lap down. This was at lap 106. 20 laps later, they were still running together. You can see damage on the 53 car coming down the backstretch. But, I mean, it was a pretty good battle. Jim Powers was taking the lead at this point. Lap 130, the lead pack breaks down again. Matt Sidici and Carson Fitzpatrick, they both dart to the pits so they can come out and draft together. After that, there's 44 laps to go, and the lead pack was running together. You can see Alderson, the rookie, up front. That would change by lap with 35 to go, which Jim Powers had taken the lead from Alderson, the 6 car running right behind him. The 4 car of Scott Unger doesn't get much airtime, but he was running up there with a good day in mind. And Joey Kowiak, he was running 5th. 22 to go, the 26 car of Anthony Wick. He spins in a solo car accident, but no caution was called because he came to rest on the apron and everyone continued to drive by. So that's 2 accidents from my 2 guys in another race. And you'll see the team point standings. They are absolute shit. So, with 14 to go, the leaders came down for the last pit stop. The early caution kind of screwed everyone up pit-wise, so you couldn't go the distance. But the 13 car and 25 car, they came out first, and the pit stops were cycling through, so the 17 car took the lead. The 17 car, I was thinking at this point that he might be able to stretch it. I've seen it before. But a lap later, he comes down and pits. At this point, he had a 42-second lead, and he had a really fast pit stop because he came out of the pits and was about a second and a half in front of the rest of the leaders. You can see Matt Sidici, Scott Unger, and Daniel Alderson right there underneath where it says Talladega. They were catching up fast, though, because the 17 car had not gotten fully up to speed and the other cars were in the draft. So by the time they came around and passed the start-finish line, the 4 car was looking to the lead. Going into turn 1, he did have the lead for a split second, but then the 17 car would be able to come up in front and block. And then on the last lap, Kevin Richmond was able to hold off Matt Sidici and win his second race of the year, totally just pulling away from the field in points. And, I mean, he has 6 top 5s in 6 races, which is just unprecedented compared to guys who are running, like, second in points. I think it's still the 53, and he has maybe, like, 3 top 5s. But Kevin Richmond wins again after he was called out of underperforming last year. I think he has done enough to prove that he is a force to be reckoned with for the last 14 races on the season. So that's it from me. Here are the race results. Kevin Richmond finished first with Sidici and Alderson close behind. Scott Unger fell off the pace. He was a second and a half behind. Jim Powers, 3.5. Joey Kowiak, 5.5. Carson Fitzpatrick was 11 seconds back. Carl Flint was almost 15. Zach Dorian was 16 seconds back. And Tim Bowen and Jason Zavern finished nose to tail, rounding out the top 11. And then you have 2 more cars on the lead lap, Ricky Brackett and Michael Adkins, but they were about half a lap behind leaders. And then all the cars involved in an accident. Cobb Jr., 2 laps down, Barros, 2 laps down, McAfee, Tabulov, and Wick, all 2 laps down. Then you have Brendan Irons, 4 laps down, Tommy Morello, 8 laps down, Reed Conway, 9 laps down, and Dylan Fisher was the only retirement in 22nd. So going to the points, Kevin Richmond now has a 130-point lead. That's over an entire race. He could not earn any points, which is impossible. And Davis McAfee could still be in second by like 30 points. Even if McAfee wins, that is. Zach Dorian in third, rookie Daniel Alderson improving his point standings and staying up, fighting for second best pretty much now. Joe Kowiak and Carl Flint running in 5th and 6th. Jim Powers, Michael Adkins, Ricky Brackett, and Scott Unger make out the top 10. And Matthew Barros, the last car on this page. Jason Severn and Anthony Wick, 12th and 13th. Second rookie Carson Fitzpatrick in 14th. Morello, Drew Tabulov, Matt Sidici, he had a good day. Tim Bowen, Patrick Cobb Jr., Brendan Irons, Reed Conway, and Dylan Fisher, who is 342 points back. This rate, he might be able to fall so far behind that he is 1,000 points back. So hopefully he can get a finish not past 20th next week. Team standings, we have Numis Racing still out by 63 points on the rest of the field. KMI Racing 128 back. North Star, Fletcher, Revolution all close together. Irish Lads and Team Harden are right behind them. There's a bit of a gap to Creechin Racing. Fermi Brothers is 13 behind them, and then what's that? Like 70 points, roughly. Taylor Motorsports, my team, in 11th, having just an awful year. But there's 14 races left, and you never know what can happen next week. So that's it from me. Where to find us? Mock_sports on Twitter. Facebook, you can search Mock Sports, or you can subscribe to the YouTube channel right that this account is posted on, or this video is posted on rather. Everything SimCup can be found on simcupseries.blogspot.com. And you can follow me on Twitter at MichaelDanger19 if you would like. I'm gonna try to keep these coming out every week. I've taken some weeks off just to do like summer jobs kind of stuff. But I mean, we're getting to the thick of things. Next week we'll be at a road course for the first time this year. Then we're at Sonoma, by the way. We're at Sonoma, and then Pocono, Gateway, and then Daytona. So I think, instead of Daytona, how about Texas? So Texas is the 10th race of the season. So I mean, we're almost halfway, and Kevin Richmond's still kicking ass. But thanks for viewing if you made it all the way through, and I hope you'll come back next week. Alright, thank you.